welcome to another episode of Databytes Enabling AI, the series where we are decoding and evolving the impact of AI, which is touching all our lives every day in many ways, not just one. And we are talking to leaders who are not just accepting the change, but shaping how this whole technology evolves along with us. Today, we are honored to be joined by Dr. Tanushri Banerjee, an accomplished academic leader, currently professor and dean at the India campus, the only Indian campus of University of Wollongong, Australia, where she's driving the future of global education with a unique blend of local insight and international perspective. In a world where AI is no longer just a trend, it is the future, it is here, and it is present. She will bring valuable insights into how we learn, lead, and build careers in this new era, and especially in education, where it is very difficult to figure out what careers are going to be meaningful tomorrow or even today. Thank you so much for making the time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for inviting me for this conversation and the warm introduction.
So we'll just dive right in. And you are in the learning business, which I think is really, really interesting, important. And I talk to a lot of the kids these days, nieces, nephews, my own kids, and it's very difficult to figure out what is it that they're going to do. And, how is the way they learn versus the way we learn is very different. And it's evolving rapidly. So with you being at that intersection point, in your experience, how is AI reshaping the way we approach learning, especially outside the traditional classroom? Because now it's learning everywhere.
Let me begin by talking about my university and the campus in India. University of Wollongong is an Australian university, as you rightly mentioned, which holds a prominent position among the universities in Australia. And UOW India, UOW is the abridged forms, it's University of Wollongong, India campus offers a range of postgraduate programs in fintech and computing data analytics. And it is one of the first Australian universities to establish a teaching base in India and is located within Gujarat's Gift City campus. So having said that, now the question that you asked, AI approaching learning and reshaping the way we do traditional classroom teaching, it's very apt right now. So artificial intelligence, which is everywhere being addressed as AI, we know it simulates human intelligence. And using computer-generated algorithms, different models, it is replicating human behavior and also cognitive functions now, to be able to gauge, to be able to reason, to be able to learn from experience and conclude or come out with outcomes. So for me, I am an electronics engineer who has had a career in information systems, and understanding the impact of emerging technology and data processing in organizations and decision making has been very interesting as it has evolved. Coming to traditional classroom teaching. In traditional classroom teaching, the academic delivers subject matter. And AI in education is being used by academics to automate course components such as assessments, a very innovative area to use AI. Second is real-time analytics to identify students with learning challenges. Then AI is also being used for administrative tasks. For instance, when you're doing the timetabling, when you're doing looking at fees payments, leaves, and so on. So expediting certain activities as well as automating them. From the student perspective, there's a responsible use of AI, which has led to productive coursework, we can say, and better alignment to career goals, which earlier was difficult for them to gauge. So that has become possible. It has helped career counselors to map personalized learning paths for students. And the reason for this is instantaneous result and feedback. Also, if you look discussions beyond the classroom, there is virtual reality and augmented reality scenarios that are there, and simulated environments. A complete simulation allows you to look at a learning environment which replicates an industry problem, or even a complete industry decision making scenario where for a particular sector, students are making decisions, and real time they are seeing the impact of their decisions. Then comes a step further where today historical figures are coming to life, and in schools or in universities, these kind of interventions become very interesting to complement the learning. Drone images are capturing understanding of places which were beyond human reach at one point, or even where accidents have happened, or areas where there is a volcano, or there is an earthquake, or whatever. So it captures the drones. Even seismic data drones are capturing. So that is another very interesting area. Then this all leads to co-creating of knowledge. And when co-creation happens, there are these knowledge systems built, and there are these virtual learning environments that are there, which allows all participants in there, be it educators from different institutions or students from different institutions, to learn.
That's a very, very interesting thoughts, a lot of thoughts here. And, I was just trying to think about a few different ways I want to dig into your response, right? So one part of your response is saying the academic tasks can be done more efficiently, like scheduling, fees, administrative tasks, which is great. But I think when you touched upon the learning experiences and how we are able to leverage a lot of these tools and technologies into the learning experience, bringing data to life, bringing video images to life, and being able to do things that we were never able to do before.
Yeah.
But it's a complex world. And how do you, everything is evolving very fast. How do you what are you able to do versus not do? All these sound great, but out of this, there are choices you have to make, right? In terms of what to bring forward versus what to let the students experience. So how are you integrating, these experiential learnings, and part of it is industry learning methods, in preparing students and professionals for this AI first world? I mean, give us some examples of what's really happening.
It is an effort which is a process of continuous learning. So it is something that is not a one size fits all model right now, because the models are different, the way it is, the applications happen are different. Additionally, the way the technology is evolving is different for the applications to be created for the learning environment. So beyond just skills in AI, the workforce today needs to be AI literate. So one skill, probably more than any other, that will determine whether we remain relevant going forward in the AI era, will be our ability to adapt to change and continuously learn and improve. Because if you are quickly adapting, it remains as a lifelong learning. So that has to continue because to remain current, to remain productive, one needs to ensure that understanding not just the technology, but the understanding of AI in business needs to be there. Now, having said that, AI literacy actually includes skills that enable humans to critically understand, use, and evaluate AI systems and tools, and also the ethical part of it. So ethically participate in an increasingly digital world. So if we are thinking of industry, the shift that happened from industry 4.0 to 5.0, or it's still happening. It is very interesting because the first part looked at the digitalization, from digitization, digital assets used for creating processes, digital processes. And then Industry 5.0 takes it a step further, where the human element is brought in. And if these things are brought into the classroom, what is it that we look at industry and academia from a spectrum of competencies that may be required? The first thing, definitely technical skills. Technical AI skills are required. For technology specialist, if you say a data scientist, a machine learning engineer, they will learn the skills, yes. But even for a non-technical professional, say decision scientist is there, or there is a team leader for a particular domain or project that is there, has to be able to understand what the technical people are telling them. So technical AI skills is one. Second is be in love with data. So data and analytics skills is another part which one needs to harness and learns. Gathering data, being able to process the data, clean the data, analyze it, and interpret it. Not end-to-end is required, but maybe what is a dashboard saying and what is the outcome from a dashboard. So it's critical to ensure successful use of the AI. Third one is the soft skills part and the business. Let's say you are transitioning. There's a change management that the industry, so any role that will be there that our future leaders take up, that will go through a change management as technology evolves. So one needs to be ready to strategically think, adapt, change, work across business functions, and then be creative enough to imbibe it into their daily activities that they are doing and communicate the same to their teams as well. AI literacy we talked about, and then there is one other component which sometimes gets missed out, is the ethical part and the moral responsibility. So when we are using AI, a lot of data, a lot of processes, lot of digital communications movement through the channel happens, and these systems are capturing information, processing them, and they are probably asking for information in ways one doesn't realize. So where is the ethical aspect coming in an AI solution? That needs to be understood well and demonstrated in their work ethics.
That's fantastic, and we have visited the campus. It's really amazing. It's almost like a futuristic campus. So congratulations, and I'm sure the students are having an amazing learning experience there. How are you embedding AI into the educational experience? I know you touched upon it. Anything else you want to add?
At the university campus, because our campus is a branch campus. So what we do is we follow the same program that is offered at the Australia campus. We bring in the same program, the same pedagogy of teaching. The degree is also global. So this provides students the international flavor and also gives them a global degree sitting in India. Now, if we are doing that, we need to ensure that every aspect of the development, the change that is happening with AI or analytics being considered at the university in Wollongong is brought into our space of learning at the Gift City campus. There are three broad aspects I want to emphasize upon. First one is informed and calculated transformation. Here, we have a set of academics, that is our faculty members who are there, and they have their key strengths. There is a continuous effort where we empower them on the changing landscape of AI to stay abreast and deliver in the classroom. How is that done? Maybe peer-to-peer learning, upskill encouragement, participating in research conferences, access to resources at our global library. So UOW has a global library. Also, we encourage them to weave in AI components in their subjects and assessments, which students enjoy. Faculty feels that they are empowered to do it and are able to do it. Also, we bring in experts, just like we brought the expert into our classroom from Prowess Consulting. to be able to talk to our students who emphasize the need for transformation. Then there are master classes, guest sessions, industry visits, things like that. So every subject, we will put a component of experiential that, and we call it work integrated learning. Maybe I'll talk about it in detail later on. So these are some efforts in the first point. Second point is emphasizing responsible use of AI, which is very important. Assignment is given, copy the code, get the answer. That is not encouraged. So while AI is important, it can replace the human skills to a certain extent. We can tell students, do not close your brain to do your assignment. You are there in the classroom for a purpose. Critical thinking and the problem solving ability should not be compromised. So for example, be conscious to use transparency in your work. Wherever you are getting information from, appropriate references, citations should be there. There should be a component where even if a certain automation section is taken from an AI tool, use that knowledge to be able to build into the problem statement that you or your team is addressing. And never deviate from institution guidelines. So guidelines for every subject or course, as we say in India, in Wollongong, UOW, we say a subject. So for every subject, there's an outline, and that has the AI guidelines. So that has to be followed. And third point would be the skill set. So we are preparing both academics and the students to stay abreast. So evolving skills and making them ready to embrace them. That is a continuous process we are trying. It's hard because the technology is moving very fast. And of course, its applications right now are being discussed in terms of the successful rate of change management that organizations are being able to take upon themselves. So the discussions are brought into the classroom, and those are interesting areas of new way of learning that AI has brought.
This is very, very interesting. And I'm going to sort of ask you a follow-up question on the second point you made on responsible and ethical AI, which is a very hot topic. And I'll ask the question in a way that is not about responsible and ethical AI, but about what is the limit of how to use AI, right? So one of the things you mentioned is coding and whether you can take the code. Now, most of the places, everybody is taking code from GitHub or other tools and accelerating the use of how much productivity you can get from a particular person or a particular engagement, right? Or particular project. So the question now becomes, how do you teach the next batch of students to essentially push the limit of AI, not just embrace it?
Our students, as we have them on the India campus, they are the fintech students as well as the computing data analytics students. So it's a very interesting blend because subjects in our fintech classroom are also from technology. For instance, there is learning Python. That's one subject. But there's another subject also, which is risk management. And then there would be subjects which are getting into an exploratory phase where students would need to create an architecture based on certain LLMs, the RAG that has come up. So those discussions are brought into the classroom. Yes, they may not be part of any subject that they are teaching, but because it is interesting area to explore, and that is what the future we are seeing for students, we will give them an opportunity to learn. So one of the things is we have a collaboration with IBM through their IBM innovations, I think Innovation Center for ICE, it is education. So it is, they have a collaboration with universities for learning. And what we do through them is they come and co-teach with us. So they complement the learning that the students are having in the classroom. And some of the discussions are around new evolving applications of changing technology. Certain problems are given. Last time, what we did was in May this year, there was a hackathon, or it was an ideathon, I should say, ideathon, where the gentleman from IBM came and he encouraged students to think through certain ideas through a problem statement. And that gives them the flexibility of using whatever information you can gather through your tools and techniques, gather that, but come up with a creative idea. So these kind of interesting exercises are helpful in setting the tone for more productive learning.
This is exactly what, you're, instead of hoping that the students go out and learn, you're creating an environment, setting the expectation along with the outcome, right? So there's a hackathon, there will be an outcome of you're presenting your ideas, and that makes it a very integral part of learning, and part of what you're essentially exposing them to everything, which is great. And I think there's a lot to learn from what you're saying right now, because companies are struggling to make this as a part of their own learning experience in their workforce, right? And the fact that we'll get students who are essentially, using these tools as a part of their experience is great. I think you've really answered a lot of pieces around what, as a university, one should do to prepare students in a very meaningful way, right? I'll ask a question. I mean, I'm sure you've answered it in a different way, but one of the things is learning, and I'm sure the students that have come to you are having a great experience. I'm sure you get questions around career planning in the shifting landscape. So how are you helping students think about careers? And you're making them ready for what is happening, but are there questions around career that you get, and how are you addressing those?
That is a very interesting question, because we are very new, and the first set of students would be ready to graduate as we complete our master's first cycle of subjects. So first cohort would be ready to get into the professional space. And one way we interact with industry is through our capstone projects. In all our programs, we have capstone projects. And that allows them to interact with industry professionals, and then also be able to figure out their career goals. So there's a research capstone project, which is more based on a research problem and go through the research matrix to be able to solve that. The other is a professional internship. So I'll tell you about the work integrated learning that we have. What they do is there are 5 types of work integrated learning, and work integrated learning is about making them get an exposure of experiential learning space, and that builds them to think through certain problems, certain probably scenarios that are not available in the classroom. So as academicians, we look at students. I always say we want to make them wiser. Literally taking the 5 letters of it. W is the work integrated learning, and that is of 5 types at UOW. One is a co-curricular will, where we have all these co-curricular activities outside of the class. Second is a foundation will. So even for our foundation subjects, there is a component where we say So for instance, it's managerial finance. How are you thinking of it as an application in the industry? So there's a work integrated learning component there. Then there's embedded work integrated learning, which is something like a simulation, which is embedded into the subject they are learning. Then there is applied work integrated learning, which I just told you, a capstone which has a research component in it. So there's an application, yet the industry impact on the industry bases the solution or the outcome they provide for the objectives that are there for the business problem they are looking at. And there's the fifth one, which is the professional will, which is like our internships in India, where they go through a professional internship in conversation or in collaboration with a mentor from the industry and a mentor from the university. Also, if you are looking at certain skill sets, see, Gen AI technology, suppose you're talking about ChatGPT or Microsoft Copilot, it is reshaping university experience worldwide. Now, generative or agentic AI, as it gets developed, it is not a substitute for decision making. It should be something that is complementing critical thinking and decision making skills. For instance, in ChatGPT, my colleague at the university the other day in Wollongong, he has mentioned that there is a feature titled Study and Learn that can be used in the classroom. And that is very interesting, because this does not directly give out the output to the students, but it gives them an opportunity to deliberate, to get the solution by asking critical questions. So as you click that Study and Learn, it helps you or helps the student, but it will progressively allow the student to think through the problem to the solution. There's one other thing that I want to add to this, that Gen AI, it has catalyzed the way industry in India is evolving. There are three specific things that we focus upon. One is skilling up from whatever is available to you, be it resources, be it online courses, be it on the ground available skill workshops. Just skill up from varied means that are available to you. Next is combination of 4 words, maybe talent plus data plus culture plus skill. This should be the mantra. And scalable data infrastructure is needed to be planned, because many AI projects are not being successful because of the planning that is not done. So there is a need for scalable infrastructure to be done. So I think all in all, this is the thought process that we work with.
This is a fantastic articulation of how universities should and could approach the learning experiences. I'm going to ask you, Dr. Banerjee, a very provocative question that has been making the rounds in a lot of different settings, right? So why do individuals go to school, college, university? And what is it that you are trying to get out of that whole experience versus what do you need from that today, right? So, and the provocative thought here is there was schools and colleges had access to books and teaching materials and tools and skills that they had to sort of, give a learning experience to the kids from K to 12, and then more mature experience in college. Some of these things, one could argue, you just said there's a study along box, right? Which essentially is teaching you to think, pushing your limits as you grow. Where is it all going? Do you think there is a whole different university setup that should be there? Or is it going to be disrupted completely?
I will share some views that come to mind, but I think this requires more discussion, because it's in the future and still the dots are not connected. So that's, of course, evolving as we talk. In an institution, which we call our university, there the physical connection that happens between an academic and a student in the classroom, face to face, still has a value. So when we are looking at technology complementing, assisting learning, empowering individuals to demonstrate in class, administer their sessions in special ways such that students are able to become educated and ready for the industry. Yes, it is very apt. But can we do away with the human interaction? And today, I'm not convinced that that will completely go away. There would be virtual classes, there will be online methods of learning, but there is still a merit where for certain interactions, the faculty and the student needs to connect face to face. How we evolve this, and tomorrow if robots are going to have that intelligence to be able to make that connect instead of humans, we don't know. But today we feel still there is that merit of being in the classroom for sessions that require face to face. There may be other sessions. For instance, you are doing something which is a totally skill demonstration, a concept that is being taught, and we definitely would want that interaction done with the expert who's sitting somewhere in another geography. Why not? That complements the learning. But both together make it complete.
Especially, you brought up the most important part, which is the human interaction, right? In the TikTok and Instagram generation, that human interaction is I'll text someone, that's I'm talking to someone as I'm texting with someone. And this human interaction is so critical. But I think you brought up a more important point, which is now there is the ability to interact with someone sitting thousands of miles away, but who's an expert on a topic. Then you're able to make it happen, which just a few years back, it was almost out of the realm of possibilities with the amount of interaction that you would need to do to make it happen. I have two more questions, and we'll go through them. The first is, in your belief, is AI a job disruptor or a job enhancer?
Actually, if you are looking at AI, just as the analytics era started with big data, if we are thinking along those lines, AI similarly is not about replacing resources. It is to empower and assist humans, which we were just now talking, to be agile. So one feels informed, feels empowered that they can do certain tasks which are requiring their thought process to be automated in a way that can be integrated into their projects wherever. But with that assistance to the human allows them to be more agile or be more productive. So if AI is used responsibly, it is a job enhancer and an enabler. That goes without saying. And the mantra there would be that not to haste. Take informed, calculated steps in understanding the rapid changing landscape of technology. Otherwise, the investment sometimes backfires. So if one doesn't understand its impact on the organization, the competition that is coming up, there would be certain client requirements that are coming up, and there may be skill shortages in the company that needs to be addressed. So as part of change management, which is a continuous process, every organization will have to do a continuous skill development for their employees at every level. And that is going to be the next era, as I understand. And AI, as we know, it has evolved through several stages. So at every stage, right from your rule-based outputs for the computers to your traditional supervised, unsupervised machine learning era came, and the decision trees, linear regressions, then the logistic regression, and then came the big data. With big data came NLPs, deep learning methods, neural networks, robotic discussions, and then there's a big leap, which is into the computer vision. Now, what are we talking? We are talking about AI, autonomous sensing, reasoning, executing large language models. Everyone needs to have that understanding. Vision language models. Then generative AI came. Now from generative AI, now we are talking about agentic AI. And these are creating roles. So there would be a role which would be a chief agentic officer, maybe in the future, or maybe organizations are probably considering it. Or there could be somebody who's a chief agentic orchestrator. So this conflict will continue in terms of how much to invest, both in empowering the employees of the organization by skilling them, and also being able to invest into the technology.
Wow, a lot of very important, interesting thoughts. And future is here. We will figure out what happens. I think, like you said, it is empowering. Using it ethically and in the right way should be interesting. Also, we looked at the student side of the equation. It's the instructor side that also needs to learn rapidly, because everything is happening real time. It's not like they were taught in the past, right? So I'm sure it's the students, to give students amazing experience. The instructors have to actually work even harder, right? To make sure that they understand how to, in this day and age, how to engage and empower students to think, versus in the past, you might be able to say, here, think about this case example. They might actually have ChatGPT analyze the case, and now you have to give them very different examples. I want to ask you one last question, and that is to, and just from your experience, Dr. Banerjee, women in AI, is there any interesting comment, thought you have? What are the challenges? What are the suggestions you might have for them?
Women in STEM is an interesting area. All of us have explored. So I, coming from an engineering background, there has always been a special place I have held as an engineer, both in my college and domains that I have worked, and then moved into management slowly. So what special place? Why? Because the numbers have been less in the classroom, yet women engineers have been successful in areas where probably earlier men used to think that women may not be able to reach. Now, what would those be? We are looking at the space technology. We are looking at offshore drilling examples or things like that. But now with AI, the added advantage is there is a very significant part of the understanding of a particular organization's technology investment being aligned to what the organization's strategic move is. Meaning, can there be resources created who understand three specific things? One is the quality of the data, the being aware of the virtues of the data, how the data actually works to support the systems, projects, processes in the company, and it depends on the type of the data. Second is the technology piece, the hardware and the software. There is a choice for women in AI, and we have these special scholarships to encourage women in both the technology as well as fintech at our university. So women in technology, if they are not doing a hands-on technology work, understand, but at least be adept, and then be in love with the data part and be an expert in the business acumen portion. So if you are very good at understanding the nuances of the business and you are able to couple it with the emerging technology, you are right there in the consulting space to take it forward. So this is just one example, but these choices are available to women in AI, where more and more it is not gender specific as such. There is a technology, there are the soft skills, there is the data piece, and of all, there is the strategic business decision and the business acumen that is required.
Absolutely. It's the soft skills along with the actual knowledge that makes one a successful person. I think this has been a very interesting, enlightening session. We started with how one might start a career in AI, and we've gone through how you are using AI at Wollongong University in a very unique way to improve the experiences of students, making them more ready to sort of be in the future, but also not just utilize technology, but utilize the technology to make them think better, to make them more, embracing what is happening, plus learning from it. We also talked a lot about job creation versus job disruption and women in AI. I think these were very interesting conversations. Definitely appreciate the time. Was there any other thought, comment you wanted to make as a parting comment?
No, I think thank you very much. It was a pleasure talking to you. And we look for the experts in industry, just as you, to provide a roadmap for our students at the university. And we work alongside to create resources in this area and leaders in the area.
Absolutely. Look forward to actually not only meeting you in person and some of your students, but also the instructors, because I think the way you articulated what you're doing is fantastic and is, at least makes a lot of sense. And I hope, we get some great students out of it. So thank you so much for spending the time, Dr. Banerjee. Really appreciate it.